I always thought there must be another way of things other than just doing a 9-to-5 rat race, and kind of looked into, right, anybody who's had success, what do they do? And regardless of what industry or sector they're in, they always had a percentage of their wealth in property.
How long did it take you to get your first deal?
So it was quite a while. Once we'd got on that first one, that's when we went, right, it was like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
For a month and a half after that, we got our second one.
Am I going to come up with excuses as to why this doesn't work and why it's too good to be true? Or am I going to just actually do it, make some money, and join the winning team?
You've got to go and get the knowledge and training. You can't go in this stuff blind. I just think you're doomed for fail if you do.
So Craig, welcome to Winners on a Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sam.
So you've got a little bit of a different story because you were made redundant in May this year.
I was, yeah.
How did you feel when you were told you were losing your job?
Yeah, it was scary. Obviously, with having 2 kids as well, there is a commitment there.
Yeah.
But I really managed to really focus on my why, which at the time was around time and being time constrained. So it allowed me to really focus and dig down into property. And,
right, so it's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, 100%.
And you were working before doing customer service?
Yep. So yeah, I was a customer service manager in IT. Been in that industry for about 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Definitely was time to make a change. And here we are now today.
What do you think is more risky, having a job or having a business?
I would definitely say having a job. Being from the IT sector at the moment, there's a real risk there with loads of redundancies across the board. I mean, you're looking at some of the big companies out there, like the huge companies. I know from friends that work with them as well, there's just job cuts being made left, right and centre.
Yeah, I'm seeing it all the time now. I mean, back in the day, it was play it safe, have a job for life. I don't think that exists anymore. And with things like AI, as a businessman, AI excites me because I think, how can I improve my business?
Yeah.
But as an employee, AI can mean, actually, we've automated your job, mate. Cut. You're redundant now. So you came. I think you came to a discovery day to my house.
I did, yeah.
And that was, I don't know how long ago that was now. Yeah.
Yeah, about 11, 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Interesting story, actually. So I came along, sat there was quite a few successful people. And I was thought, what am I doing here? I'm in the complete wrong place. This is not for me. Met a guy called Tony, who I didn't know who he was at the time. We was having a chat. And I kind of said to him, like, look, I think I'm in the wrong place here. And he said, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm a customer success manager in IT. He said, no, you're in the exact right place. You're good with numbers. And fast forward about 2 hours later, he stood up and I found out he was your mentor.
Yeah.
Made millions of pounds in property.
Millions. He's done over 100 million.
Yeah. So it was a fun day.
Why did you feel you were in the wrong place at first? Was it because everyone was like so successful?
Yeah. So obviously I had no knowledge or background in property at all at that time. And I was just seeing all these people having successes and, they were saying, we've got 30 apartments, 50 apartments. And I just thought, I'm in the wrong room. I'm with the wrong crowd of people. And obviously I was a bit skeptical as well. Like I'd heard you say how you can manage and take on property without any of your money. And I was a bit like, that's an interesting one. I want to go along. I want to find out a bit more about this.
Yeah. And I know as well, your family were pretty skeptical, right?
Yeah, 100%. At the very beginning, obviously, I come along. I was really interested in it. Checked in with my wife, Becca, on it. She's the brains behind the operation. I brought her along to the pound course and we just didn't look back.
That's the best thing to do to get your family on board is to just say, look, pay £1. Come down to the Property Investors Crash Course and see for yourself. It's the best thing that she ever did, probably coming along. And now you've had the support of Becca, who I know has been massively influential, and you've grown the business together, which is so much more fun than trying to grow a business and your wife's just there in the background, like, not sure, having somebody that's on board and gets it,
100%.
Really makes sense. So did you do the training before or after you were made redundant?
So some of it I had done before. I think, like I said, it was my why, but it was also probably one of my biggest challenges was time.
Yeah.
I had real big time constraints around my job. I was working like 13, 14-hour days. So I was just trying to fit in any little bit in any nook or cranny that I had. And it'd normally be half hour or an hour in the evening. What I just found is when the redundancy come along, it really allowed me to accelerate and go through all of the trainings properly and really deep dive and hit the ground running.
After being made redundant, how long did it take you to become financially independent?
So for me, I suppose across the board is what we'd class as an average wage.
Yeah, which is maybe about $2,000.
Yeah, I was on probably a significant wage at the time. So I was on about 85k a year.
Sure.
That was probably one of the biggest worries and concerns I had. But I would say probably from May, I would say from July, August, we really started seeing the success come. And that's where I could say, do you know what, I'm out the 9 to 5 rat race and we can really drive this forward.
That's pretty good though. Just 2 or 3 months to be at a point where you've replaced the average salary. Maybe not your current salary, but the average salary. What strategy did you use to become financially free?
We first focused on rent to rent. We've seen a lot of success from that. And that's something that we're going to continue to build out. We then focused probably, I'd say, within the last 2 months around the deal selling side and deal sourcing. And we have started to see some good success from that as well, whether that be us source it and sell it directly to an investor, or we co-source and work with another deal sourcer to align the investor and the deal together.
What's the difference between straight deal selling, when you package a deal, find an investor, sell the deal, and then co-deal sourcing? Like, what's the difference between the two?
So obviously with a direct deal source straight to investor, you'll find the deal for them. You'll make sure it fits their requirements. You'll package it all together. You'll give them a clear overview of, what the average nightly rate will be and occupancy and what they can expect as a average profit per month. With the co-sourcing side, it may be, for instance, I found a specific deal and another sourcer's got a specific investor that it fits their requirements.
Yeah.
We would then come together and then package that together and obviously split the fees.
Makes sense. So you're basically tapping into their list.
Yeah.
They're selling it. They're dealing with the investors and all that, but you're finding the deal and then you're splitting the profits. See, I personally believe, Craig, I believe that every property investor or even aspiring property investor should be a deal sourcer. Because when you're a property investor, you're out looking at deals all the time for yourself anyway. You're looking at rent to rents, you're looking at, BRRs, you look at holiday lets, you're looking at properties. You can't take on everything.
No, definitely.
Because you just haven't physically got the resources or the capacity to take every deal on for yourself. So you're either going to see decent deals but don't quite work for you because they're outside of your patch or whatever, and just flush it down the drain. Yeah. Or find deals for yourself, and then when you come across other deals, they're like, oh, that's good, but I can't quite take it on. Sell it. Or pass it to someone else to sell and split the fee.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to us, really. So we had just joint ventured on our second SA, and everything was just taking the initial, staging and stuff like that. And a deal had come up to us, which by figures, and we were really interested in doing it. But time-wise, like you've just said, it just wouldn't have made a match. So we actually decided to sell that on, and it's a win-win for everyone.
Makes sense. Where do you live, and what's your patch for your properties that you're doing?
So we live in South Buckinghamshire, and our patch where we have our rent-to-rent SAs at the moment is in Hertfordshire.
Nice.
In Watford area. We're also, with agents and landlords we're working with, is in the general London area as well. So.
How long did it take you to get your first deal from when you went on the academy and were looking for deals? How many months or how many weeks was it?
So it was quite a while. I think our initial struggles were at the beginning in trying to get that and trying to work with agents and landlords. And we actually got support and worked with the twins on getting our first deal.
Who are awesome on the academy. Shout out Gavin Mitch.
They are. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They really do help all the academy members. They're fantastic. And I think probably about once we'd got our foot over the line on that first one, that's when we went, right, it's like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
This is how it works. And it kind of spiraled. And I'd say probably a month and a half after that, we got our second one.
Do you reckon that your first deal is your hardest?
100%. Yeah.
I think so. And I think even with selling deals, I speak to a lot of investors who are super established investors that, even some of them are, multimillionaires. And they're like, I'm going to try and do a bit of deal selling because, why not? And they're struggling. But then when you get your first deal sold, it's like something clicks and it's like, okay, that's how it works. And then you just can do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
Which has been your favourite course? I know you've done a lot of training programs with myself. What do you think's been the best one?
So it's probably, I would say, the BRRR, so the buy refinance.
Is that next for you?
It is, yeah. That's definitely something we want to get into. And probably going back to before even joining the academy, in my mind, that is the kind of the avenue we wanted to go down.
Yeah.
It's just full of just so much content, and each step is broken down that even though I haven't got one today, by all of the training I've done, I'd feel quite confident in going ahead with one straight away. So.
Yeah, and that's the key. Confidence comes from knowledge. So when you know when you know what you're doing. And we try our best on the trainings to not just teach, but get you on the phones and get people actually speaking and doing things, because that's the real way to learn, isn't it? Is to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can take all of the knowledge and then, don't do anything with it. It's basically useless.
Yeah.
So.
Talk to me about Power Team, because presumably you're not managing the properties, cleaning the properties. Every time you get a guest, going, checking them in yourself. You've got systems in place and maybe a team in place. So talk to me about the members of the team, the things that you can automate, and how you've managed to do that.
I'd say probably with our Power Team, the main driving force is our cleaners.
Right.
They are our eyes and ears on the ground. They manage obviously all the turnovers and everything like that. We have a maintenance man that we can lean on as well from time to time, where if there's little certain things need to be done, for instance, if there's a problem with a tap or something like that. And then with regards to automating the business and systems, we have a channel manager in place as well, that basically effectively manages both properties. We can see who's checking in when there's checkouts, when there needs to be a quick turnover, late checkout. So it really allows us to kind of have a hands-off approach, so to speak. So
yeah. Which channel manager do you use?
We use Uplisting.
Nice. Yeah. And which online travel agencies are you on? Are you on all of them? Like you're on Booking.com, Late Rooms, everything?
So we are, yeah. And I think one of our USPs is by being on so many OTAs. And we see and have had a lot of success down the relocators.
Interesting.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're probably some of the OTAs that most people wouldn't recognize or be aware of.
Yeah.
Like Home and Away, stuff like that. We've had quite a lot of success from them.
Interesting. Because everyone that isn't trained properly will just think, I'll just stick it on Airbnb and I'll just wait for the bookings to roll in. And of course that can work. If you're in an area which is an absolute banging area, it can work. But generally speaking, I think you've got to be a bit more proactive. You've got to think, who's my market? Who am I actually, you just mentioned relocators. Cool. Where am I, how can I maximize my marketing, be as on many different platforms as possible, tweaking my prices, being aware, paying attention. I think that's something that's missing in the business by people that aren't properly trained doing it properly. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. And I like that from the training that we've had. You're able to focus on, okay, your patch, what is going on in your area? What type of people is that going to bring to that area? Okay, so I know that that's going to be one of my target markets. How do I get my business to them? How can I showcase them what I've got and what I do? And then obviously from there, you're able to grow and get some of them longer term bookings.
How's life changed then now? Because I know that you're doing okay financially and you're making a living and you're full-time in property, but your life must be quite different now to what it was like a year ago.
Yeah, 100%. I get to see a lot more of the outside, which is fantastic. I also get to pick and choose when I work, kind of thing. So instead of being stuck in that 9 to 5 rat race, behind a desk all day, every day, I'm now able to maybe flip it where I could go, I'm able to go and pick up my kids from school today and maybe spend an hour or so over the park, and then adjust it where I'll work later in the evenings or certain times in the day. So especially with how it's systemized as well. I also find it actually helps me in my personal life systemize how my day is going to go as well. So.
That's great. That's really cool. And your family were pretty skeptical at first. Obviously your wife was supportive, but what do your family think now about what was?
It's been fantastic. So when we first got the rent to rents, they were very, very skeptical and, was given the message of, just be careful and make sure you know what you're getting into. But my father and my father-in-law have been really supportive. They've helped us with staging on some of the accommodations we've had. And we're actually at the point now where they've been to one of your pound courses.
Boom! There we go.
And we're speaking about them potentially becoming investors for us on our BRR projects.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's, as I said before, when you send people to the crash course, you can't argue with the facts, because the thing is, people can watch a quick YouTube video and think, that sounds too good to be true. Yeah. Or if it was that good, everyone would be doing it. Or if you're making so much money in property, why are you teaching people? And all these things, which are legitimate questions. But when you come down and you actually come to a property investors crash course, pay £1, meet me in person. Yeah. Meet all the different people that are in property and see the experiences and the case studies and have everything logically broken down as to how it works and the agencies and suddenly you can't argue with it. And it's like, hang on a minute, am I going to come up with excuses as to why this doesn't work and why it's too good to be true? Or am I going to just actually do it, make some money and join the winning team? And, you can't really not. I think when you come on a crash course, it opens your eyes and it almost ruins you. I bet you would never, ever get a job ever again now.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
No.
It's a complete lifestyle change. And like you said, from all of that, it is a complete eye opener. I found that I end up leaving the pound course and my wife and was a bit like, how did we not know about this? It's certain things that you think you just never have heard of before.
Yeah.
But so simple.
Yeah, exactly. And what have you got in the pipeline then, Craig? What's going on now?
So we've got a lot coming up in the pipeline at the moment. We're due to build out a time frame with one of the landlords we're working with to take on the remainder of the block. So that would be, we've got one in the moment, that'll be 4 in total. From deal sourcing side of things, we've got a block coming up in London, which is for 8 apartments. And we're also speaking with someone which would be co-sourced with another Academy member about another apartment block, which is for 74 apartments.
Oh, wow.
A lot of things in the pipeline.
Some big stuff.
Yeah.
What made you flip your strategy from initially when we first met, you were wanting to do buy, refurbish, refinance and go down that route, to then flipping your strategy and suddenly going down deal sourcing, rent to rent, and being more of a property entrepreneur? How did that change and why?
So I think when I first looked into it, I really didn't have the understanding of like fast pound and then building like generational wealth.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was just like BRR. That's the way. I'll buy maybe 1 property, 2 properties if I can, and then over time, there'll be that capital appreciation, and it'll be a little nest egg. From obviously going on the courses and being part of the academy, I've understood the entrepreneurial side, the fast pound that I can earn, obviously with deal sourcing, rent to rents, and then long term build into that and building a lot more generational wealth, either with my money or other people's money, and make it a win-win for everyone around.
It makes sense. And running property as a business and being a property entrepreneur is so good, because not only is the money fast and life-changing, but also when you're in the business and you've got properties under control and you're sourcing properties, it's very easy then to start building your portfolio, because you're out on the road, you're speaking to agents, you've got your team in place. So it makes sense. What's been the biggest challenge then, Craig? Besides being made redundant and thinking, holy moly, I'm sure that was a challenge.
Yeah.
But what would you say has been some of the biggest challenges and problems that you faced?
I'd probably say the main 2 would be, at the beginning was time, although it was my why. I really struggled at the beginning to try and dedicate myself as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
And probably at times also asked a bit too much of myself. I mean, we only have so much time in a day.
Yeah.
But again, if you can't and you're not able to commit, you need to try and find the nooks and crannies to be able to fit it in, and get the education that you need. The other part as well, I'd probably say at the beginning that we struggled with is the building the brand aspect of it.
Sure.
So like my wife, for instance, she found, I think we'd only been on the academy maybe 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and we found some really good BRR deals. But where we hadn't built the brand or maybe networked enough, we couldn't find investors that it would have been a good fit for. And I mean, like the returns were like 25% and stuff like that. But I would say that was a real big challenge that we had at the beginning.
Yeah, people not knowing who you are.
Yeah.
As Grant Cardone, my mentor, says, contacts equals contracts. You have to have people. You have to not only know people, but also have people know you.
Yeah.
And I think that you've done that well now. I think it was even Tessie that reached out to me and was like, "You have to get Craig on your channel, because you've had a lot of friends on the academy." Yeah,
and I mean, one other thing with the academy, like as we're on about the networking side, everyone helps everyone. I mean, there's so many guys, like Teshi, Adam, Kieran, all those the twins, all those guys, it just help everyone, and you really want to see everyone be pulled up and have success. So it's good.
How would you say you've changed as a person over the last year, if you have?
I would probably say one of the things that I maybe do more, and although I had a big aspect of it from work, but probably what I do more now is, instead of looking at things as, okay, what's there for me, it's more like, how can I add value? And that's, when I'm doing deals and maybe crunching numbers and making sure that they're really conservative numbers, or if it's just supporting someone, like I think more of a bigger picture is, how can I help someone? And from that, you do get a real good feel factor from it.
I believe that. I believe what goes around comes around. I believe in good karma. I believe in givers gain. Yeah. Especially on the academy, sometimes people will join the academy and they'll spend the first month just helping people, passing opportunities, connecting. And I'm thinking they're going to be super successful because everyone's raving about them and everyone's benefiting from that person, and you reap what you sow. So I think that's a great outlook. How's it affected your relationship? I know you've been working with Becca on the business. How's it affected your relationship? Are you guys happier, would you say? Or
definitely.
Is it challenging working together? Like what's...
No. I mean, she's the brains behind the brawn, right? So I think in the grand scheme of things, it's probably made our relationship a lot stronger in some ways. We have boundaries where it's like, right, no work time. Like,
sure. Phones off for a bit. Let's just chill.
But then I find that time a bit more special with her as well. And I think like together, because we're both pulling in the same direction for the same thing. And obviously, when you're both in jobs, you're making someone else rich, right? Whereas obviously when it's your business and it's for yourselves, it's to help like grow, and you guys will benefit from that. So where you're both pulling in the same direction, it's definitely made us a lot stronger.
And how old are your kids?
So my eldest is 4.5 and my youngest is 18 months.
Oh, congrats. That's amazing. What do you think? Would you want to get them into the business one day? Like when they leave school and that? Or?
Yeah, 100%. So our actual property business is named after them. Nice. Curtis and Amelia, CNA Estates. And that really just goes back to like what we was talking about, generational wealth. So hopefully down the road, they'll be able to take the reins and have even more success than we will.
I personally think the best gift you can give your kids, and I've got 3 kids myself, is your personal development and passing on the baton to them and educating them. I'm not going to necessarily give my kids money, but what I will give them is I'll give them knowledge. I'll teach them. I'll give them opportunities, experiences. And I think that's certainly the best gift you can give your kids. So congrats on what you've done. What advice would you give yourself from a year ago, just before you was made redundant? There you are, in your job, no properties, no property experience. What advice would you give to that person from a year ago?
Obviously, you've got to go and get the knowledge and training. You can't go in this stuff blind. I just think you're doomed for fail if you do. So that'd be one. Looking back, I would definitely say a big focus on networking and building your brand. I just think, like you said earlier, if people know who you are, it makes it a lot easier to work with them, and you'll find that they come to you. So that's definitely
that's brilliant. So network and knowledge.
Yeah.
And again, knowledge is so important because I'm a trainer, so obviously I strongly believe this. But when you try and reinvent the wheel, you might spend 6 months doing something which could have taken 6 minutes if you just found someone that did it previously. So, and if you want to be anything, if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an electrician, you go to uni, you go to college. And I think property is one of the most lucrative professions on the planet. So to get trained properly makes sense. How did you justify the decision to enroll into the academy, which is our sort of top of the mountain experience, the most platinum thing that we've got? How did you justify that decision?
So I think, first of all, when I was working, I always thought there must be another way of things other than just doing a 9-to-5 rat race, and kind of looked into, right, anybody who's had success, what do they do? And regardless of what industry or sector they're in, they always had a percentage of their wealth in property. Mm-hmm. So that kind of got me down to the route of seeing you on YouTube and stuff like that. And I think from there, and then obviously getting the first knowledge and understandings, and then getting my wife involved, we just decided, at the time we had recently purchased our house on mortgage, under the pretenses that it needed a new roof. So we had a part of a roof on there, and we decided, right, we can fix the roof now and we won't be able to do this, or we can do this and not look back. And it's something that
So you joined the academy instead of fixing your roof?
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I think I'd rather invest in myself than invest in my roof.
Absolutely.
Is your house standing still? Is it okay?
It's still up and standing, yeah.
There we go. And soon you'll be able to have you got your new roof yet?
Not yet, but it's in the pipeline.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Craig, massive well done on what you've achieved. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on and sharing your story as well. What was it that made you agree to come on and share your story today?
Just to really benefit and help others. I've seen a lot of success in the academy, some of the guys we've already mentioned, and just to be able to share some of that and help out to anyone that's even thinking about property or is a bit concerned or worried, point them in the right
Advice
direction.
for someone thinking about coming to the £1 Property Investors Crash Course?
Don't think, just come.
There we go. I'll leave a link in the description. Come meet me, spend a day with me at the Property Investors Crash Course. It all starts at the Crash Course. Link in bio. See you there.